Hi everyone! Welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So in our last video, we worked on the inside of our covers and added our hinge and our pages. Now we will make our pages and it'll be ready for Valentine's Day. Page 1, you will need 1 3 by 10, 1, here it is, 1/2 by 4 1/4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Before we make page 1, let's grab our album here, and we need to cover the base of page 1 with pattern paper. Now that my page is prepped, we're going to move on to the waterfall. You want to set your 4 1/4 by 1/2 and your 5 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 inch pieces off to the side for now. We are just going to work on the 3 by 10. Quick here, I'm going to check 5 1/4. Okay. We are going to be working on the 3 by 10 for now. So let's grab our scoreboards out. And you want the 10 inches at the top. I'm going to score it 5 3/4, 6 1/4, 6 3/4, 7 1/4, 7 3/4, 1 2 3 4 5, and 8 1/4. So that's 5 3/4, 6 1/4, 6 3/4, 7 1/4, 7 3/4, and 8 1/4. Now we're just going to fold and burnish all of our score marks. And now you want to grab your 5 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 inch pieces. And you want to fold your piece down so that you have your large section at the bottom, and then you have your short section and your first 1/2 inch section at the top. Grab some glue, and you're going to add glue to the inside of the first 1/2 inch section like this. Then you want to grab one of your 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 inch pieces. I'm going to line this up on my mat, and you want to place this on your piece here, making sure that the top of your mat is lined up with the top of the 1/2 inch section, just like this. Okay. So if I open this up here, I have this section that's free, and then this first 1/2 inch section right here is glued to my first mat. So now you want to fold it down to the second second 1/2 inch section, and we're going to add glue. Grab your second mat, and we can just line this up with the first mat and with the top of the 1/2 inch section, just like so. And you want to do that all the way down in all of your 5 1/2 inch sections. Once you have all of your mats on your base, you want to grab your 1/2 by 4 4/4 inch piece, and you want to flip to the back of your base here, and we are going to glue this in the center. You want to glue the center of this to the bottom of the small section, like this. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue to the bottom here, and then I'm just going to attach this to the bottom like so. Okay, just like this. So now your 1/2 inch, so to look like this. You have your 5 mats here, and then this is the free part, and then this is your 1/2 inch piece right here. It's glued to the bottom, okay? Now we're going to fold the large section over like this, and then you want to fold over these 2 tabs on either side of the large piece, making sure that you have a little bit of leeway on either side. You want to be able to move your waterfall without having any issues. So, like this. So look like this. You have a little bit extra on either side available for this to move freely without catching. Grab your album. I'm going to glue this with the tab to the outside, and measure here really quick. So you should have about 3/8 of an inch all the way around. The only pieces that we are going to glue are those two little tiny tabs that we wrapped around the back. That is it. And then we're just going to lay this right on our page here and stick those two tabs down like so. And then if you pull this piece, it should move like this. Have a nice waterfall. Okay. Page 2. Set this off to the side for now. And get stuff for page 2. You will need, for page 2, two pieces that are 2.5 by 5 and one piece that is 3¼ by 4¼ . On the 5" side of 2.5 by 5.5, we are going to score at 1/2 inch on both pieces. And that is it. Fold and burnish. And miter your corners. I am going to add some score tape to my two tabs. And now you want our album again. So now we're going to turn to the back of the first page, right here. So grab one of your 2.5 by 5 inch pieces and oops. We're going to do the top right corner, and you want to measure down 1/2 inch from the top. And that is where we're going to add our first flap. Right like this. And then bottom left, where your second flap goes, and that's going to be 1/2 inch from the bottom. Just like so. Okay, now that our flaps are on, you want to grab a pencil and a ruler. You can open the flaps, and we are going to make some marks. You want 5/8 on the top and the bottom. And then 1 1/8 on the sides. So this should fit your 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. That is to help us figure out where we're going to put our 2 magnets. Going to add 2 magnets. Right here and right here. This is on the back of our 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, because then when we close our flaps, our magnets should end up on the 2 exposed corners. Okay? So, magnet here. And magnet here. And then I'm going to take 2 more pieces of score tape, 2 more magnets, and this is just the same way as I did with the back and side pocket. Going to add my score tape, sticky side up, and then add my magnet on top, just like so. And actually, it might be a good idea to write top on, or T on the top of your mat, so you know which direction this goes. Just in case the magnets you're using are going the right direction, or they're going the same direction on both sides. You want to make sure that you're not making your mat crooked. So we're just going to line up our mat in those marks that we made, and then we can just stick down the score tape. Mine is a little off on this side, so I'm going to redo it. There. Once you're happy with it, You can take your mat off, put your flaps down, and then add your mat to the front, and it should look like this. Page 3. You need 2 pieces that are 3 3¾ by 4½, and 1 piece that is 2 by 3. With your 3¾ at the top, we are going to score at 1/2 inch on both pieces. We're not scoring our 2 by 3. So fold and burnish on your score marks and miter the corners. Once you have your pieces folded, burnished, and mitered, you want to go to page 3, and we're going to add both of these flaps to the 2 sides of the page. So my flaps are on, and notice these don't close very well. We're going to grab your 2 by 3 inch piece, and you want to decide if you want to glue this piece either to the left one or the right flap. I'm going to glue mine to the left flap. So I need to add pattern paper to the outside of my left flap and the back of my 2 by 3. You can choose either one. This is how we're going to close these 2 flaps. You're going to glue one side of your 2 by 3 to one of your flaps, and then we're going to add a magnet to the other side. Now that we have our pattern paper on our flap and on the back of our 2 by 3, we can attach this to our flap. So I am going to put my fingers at 1½ inches, which is the middle of this. And then I'm going to add glue just inside that 1½ inch mark. The center of this is going to be 1¼ inches on the top and the bottom, and 1¾ on the sides. So now we can add our magnet. The first one is going to go on the top of our mat like this. First magnet is going to go on the center of our mat on the side like this. So just like this. And then the other one is going to go wherever our second magnet lands on our flap. So mine lands right there. And then it can close. And page 3 is done. Page 4. For this page, we will need a 2.5 by 4.5. There is no scoring on this piece, but we will need to add paper to the base of page 4. Once we have pattern paper on the base of page 4, we can add this to it. So you want to add glue to just the top and the bottom of your belly band, and it's going to be 2 inches on either side. And there's page 4. And you can, let me grab one of these here. This is a belly band, so you can stick stuff in the back. Page 5. You will need a piece that is 3 3/4 by 9, and one piece that is 4.5 by 7. Going to grab our scoreboards out. On the 4.5 by 7, you want the 7 inches at the top, and we are going to score at 1/2 inch. With the 3 3/4 by 9, you want the 9 at the top, and we're going to score at 1 inch. Four and a half. And 8. With our 4.5 by 7, we're going to fold and burnish on the score mark and miter the 2 corners. With our 3 3/4 by 9, we are going to fold and burnish on all of our score marks. And then these 2 outer 1-inch sections, you want to flip them over to the other. You want to flip them the other direction so that it's like this. Let's add our 4.5 by 7 to our page, and we're going to add it to the outside corner, or outside edge. It's going to go on this side. Right, like this. And now we want to add a magnet to the outside. Or magnet to the inside. And magnet here so that we can keep our flap closed. Here's my glue pin right there. Oh yeah, it'll be good. It'll be fine. Once you have your magnets placed on the inside of your flap and on your base page, you want to cover the base page and the inside flap with pattern paper. Once you have your pattern paper on, you want to grab your 3 3/4 by 9-inch piece, fold it in half, and then fold the 1-inch tabs in so that when you fold it in, it's like this, okay? Now, if you want to, you can make these 2 1-inch tabs into pockets. All you have to do is add glue to the 2 short sides, and then on the scored side, the long scored side, okay? If you don't want to, you can just glue it all down. I'm going to make these into a pocket. So what you want to do is, so this is going to be 3/8 of an inch on either side, and you want to line this up so that this edge is lined up with the edge of your page. Like this. Okay. I'm just checking to make sure that I'm even, because for some reason it doesn't look even. Yeah. Okay, that looks better. Okay. Now I can open this and just kind of burnish this down really well. Now we're going to add glue to this piece. So again, if you're going to make a pocket, you just add glue to the two short sides and then the scored side. If not, you can just glue the whole thing. And then we're going to close this flap on top of it. You want to burnish it really good. And when you open it up, have a nice little pop-up. And then these two, you can stick stuff in. See, pocket here, and a pocket here. Okay? That's page 5. And page 6. Again, we are going to need to put pattern paper on our base, so I'm going to do that really quick. For page 6, you need a piece that is 4.5 by 11 and a piece that is 4.5 by 10.5. Grab your scoreboard out. Starting with a 10.5 inch piece, you're going to score it 3.5, 7, okay. So starting with the 10.5, we're going to put the 10.5 at the top, and we're going to score at 3.5 and at 7. Now we're going to do the 11, and you want the 11 inches at the top. 3.5, 7, and 10.5. We're going to fold and burnish on all of our score marks. And you want to fold, burnish, and miter the 1/2 inch piece on your 11 inch piece of paper, cardstock. Hi, Coda. Go pancake. Mama's gonna take a break in a little bit. Okay. Go pancake. Once these are folded and burnished, we are going to take the 1/2 inch tab And we are going to attach it to one of the short sides of our 10.5-inch piece. So I'm going to fold mine down so that I can line up the edge of my paper with my score mark here. And then you just burnish it down. Then you want to accordion fold this so that it ends up looking like this. Now we are going to grab some ribbon here, and this time I'm going to do 30 inches. I'm going to cut a 30-inch piece. And then you want to choose one side, one of your end pieces, and we are going to add our ribbon to the center. And you can do it up and down or side to side, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do mine up and down. And you want to make sure that you get it about you want to get around the center of your ribbon to the back of your accordion fold mat, so that you have enough ribbon on the other side to tie it. Then we're going to fold this back up like this, and to just make it a little easier to put it in our album, I'm going to tie this closed. Like this. And we want to open our album up to page 6, our last page. So this is a 3.5 by 4.5 inch piece. Our page is 4.5 by 6.5. So that means we have 1/2 inch on top and bottom and 1 inch on the sides. And you want the opening of your accordion to be on the bottom. Make sure you are not gluing your ribbon in when you're putting it down. Just stick it down and then open it up and just burnish it really good on the last page. Oops. You need to always add a little bit more glue. It's not wanting to stick. sometimes it just doesn't want to, especially when it's on a bumpy surface. And then we can just tie this back closed. And then close our album. And our Mini Valentine's album is complete. I hope you liked making this album with me. If you did, hit the like button down below. If you want to see more, including my other Valentine's album that I am making this week, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!